Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Clarice and I'm a board-certified lactation consultant and child development teacher. This episode is part 3 of the Preparing for Baby series, and this is all about what to expect in your first few weeks at home with your newborn and ways to handle situations so you feel less stress, less overwhelmed, and find more joy in your early days of parenthood. Stay tuned. First off, congratulations on having your little one. Yay! You're now starting your journey as a family, and it's a really exciting time. There's a lot of changes, and we're going to discuss ways to care for yourself and your newborn in these next few weeks. The first tip is track your child's daily routines. If you watched part 2 of this series, you might remember I mentioned tracking routines as one of the things to start doing at the hospital after delivery. When you're home, I encourage you to get a notebook and continue documenting your child's feedings, diaper changes, and naps. Newborns have a different rhythm, so they'll be awake during the middle of the night and feed frequently. And as a new parent adjusting to this new routine and responding to your baby's needs, you're going to be tired, and your memory won't be as sharp as it typically is. Tracking the routines will allow you to see patterns and begin anticipating your child's needs. Also, when your child is 2 weeks old, he or she is scheduled for a doctor's visit, and the pediatrician will ask you specific questions about their routines, such as how often baby is eating and how often they're peeing and pooping. This information is telling of your child's nutrition, hydration, and intestinal tract health, so it's beneficial to give the doctor accurate data. So what kind of information should you write down? With diaper changes, write down the time you changed their diaper and whether it was pee or poop. This will tell you how many of each they are having in a day. If you're breastfeeding, write down the breastfeeding times when baby started and finished, as well as which side you offered first and last. And that's because you want to switch up the breast you are starting with so baby is feeding well from both. If you're bottle feeding, write down how many ounces baby drank and the times they started and finished as well. With naps, write down the times baby fell asleep and woke up. This will eventually teach you their signs of tiredness and how long they're awake before showing those signs, so you can respond to them before they get overstimulated and overtired. Because if it gets to that point, it gets a little harder and longer to calm them to sleep. The second tip is pay attention to your child's cries. You cannot spoil a child by responding to their cries. I'm going to repeat this one more time. You cannot spoil a child by responding to your baby's cries. Crying is the way a baby communicates. You're getting to know your baby at this time, but also remember, they're getting to know you. So when they cry, whether it's from discomfort from a soiled diaper, they're hungry, or they want to be held, it's important that you respond to those needs so that you become a familiar and safe person, and they learn to trust who you are. Research has shown it builds stronger connections in their brain, and eventually, as they get older, they cry less. The third tip is expect hormone changes to affect your mood. Pregnancy and childbirth cause significant hormonal shifts, such as a dramatic decline of estrogen and progesterone after birth. 80% of new mothers experience feelings of sadness, unexplained crying, mood swings, or feeling overwhelmed. If you feel this way, know that it's common and will only last a few days to about a week or 2 after birth. If, however, you're finding that your symptoms are lasting longer, or they're becoming more intense and it's affecting your daily life, it's best to contact your healthcare provider. The symptoms may range from having difficulty bonding with your baby, or you're losing interest and pleasure in the things you're used to enjoy. You're not able to think clearly or make decisions, and you're experiencing insomnia, or you're sleeping too much, or maybe you're having a loss of appetite, or you're eating much more than usual. If those symptoms are left untreated, they may last for months or longer. So be mindful of your thoughts and your feelings, and I encourage you to seek out extra support. The fourth tip is introduce bottles and pacifiers after breastfeeding has been established. If you're breastfeeding, know that it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to establish breastfeeding. It's a skill that you and your baby are learning, and the sucking and feeding pattern of breastfeeding versus a bottle or a pacifier are very different. So to avoid confusion for your baby, it's best to avoid pacifiers and bottles for those first few weeks so they can seamlessly go back and forth between breastfeeding and bottles and or pacifiers when you eventually introduce them. The fifth tip is have conversations with your support system about your child's care. One of the things you start to build within yourself as a new parent is learning to trust your role as a parent, believing that you know what's best for your child and advocating for your family. You're going to receive a lot of unsolicited advice. You might be surrounded by other parents, older generations, or you see other parents on social media and you may feel like you don't know what you're doing. But if you're watching this video and doing your research and asking questions, doing your best to get to know your baby, I already know you're a capable and competent parent. So if you have a support system helping you care for your baby, and that could include nannies, grandparents, in-laws, etc., have conversations about your child's care and take charge of the knowledge you have of your child so that there's consistency for your child and your family. This concludes the 3-part Preparing for Baby series. I hope you found all the information we discussed helpful. If there's anything you would like to add that could help other new parents, feel free to leave it in the comments below or send me an email. And I'll talk to you next time.